They usually tell me to quiet down, so I'm not used to having to speak louder, but I will. Unfortunately, Councilman Montes, who asked for the flats, not here. Have you had a chance to digest those revenue pages? Or does anyone have any questions on them?
Be much difference between 3% and 2%?
Well, there's no 2%. I did 3% raises with no tax increase, and 3% raises with a tax increase. The 2% tax increase represents a...
No, not tax, I mean salary.
No one asked me to do 2. They said do 3.
I thought we did. It was in the minutes.
3
2, I
across the...
believe it was 3.
Yes, 3 across the...
Because Lonnie asked for 2.
Yeah.
No, then she changed her mind and settled back on
Okay.
3.
Okay.
So I did the straight 3% and looked at what the impact would be on the revenue side of the budget. Okay. The budget's going up overall with all the changes in all the departments. $37,000 in total. Moving the budget from 5.33 million to 5.70 million.
Joe, can you say that again? From what?
5.33 million last year
It's on the page.
to 5.7 million. It's on the
It's on the page.
it's on the recap sheet. Right?
I just want to put them together.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. That $37,000 increase is overall a 2.4% increase over last year's budget. Okay.
Now, does that meet our cap?
Yes, we're good with the cap.
What's the cap? 3.
When I look at what we did in revenues this year, to do the 3% raises and no tax increase, I went up a little higher on the expected balance, the expected revenue from delinquent taxes. I went up a little higher on the anticipated revenue for sewer rents. I took a little bit more interest revenue, okay, to make up that difference. And I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. Interest rates have already started to regress from last year. When we did last year's interest revenues as high as it's been in a really, really long time. The rates last year were hovering over 2.3. They were ranging between 2.3 and 2.5. They've already fallen down to 1.7. Okay. So what I've been trying to do with the interest revenue is to let us earn that revenue, let it fall to fund balance, and then utilize the fund balance in the following year. So that if the rates dip, I'm 2 years insulated from a shift in the interest rates. Okay. I would much rather see us go with the 2% tax increase. The 2% tax increase represents $14,200 in new revenue and has an impact of $93 a year per household, which is $23 a quarter. It keeps us from overextending ourselves on some of our other revenues and insulates us from market changes.
Do you need that to vote on that?
Well,
As we go.
Once we get through it, if there aren't any more questions, then we'll just pick which one of these two scenarios we like, and then I'll put the budget document together based on it. My recommendation would be to take the page that says preliminary revenue 3% plus tax, along with the expenditure sheet that we have in front of us. And that would be our 2020 budget.
What's the, I got a question, what's the line, that I see over here, the UCC fees?
That's our construction code official revenue. We had a really, really unusual year in terms of revenue there. We were managing between $8,000 and $9,000 a year over there. And for us to suddenly blossom up to, 13,000 was great. It's a nice little one shot in your arm, it'll certainly help with surplus. I really don't want to see us continue to anticipate that level of activity. We haven't had a whole lot of new construction in the borough in a really long time. A lot of that was COs for rentals. Okay. I would really, really be hesitant to anticipate that level of revenue again next year.
I don't see the difference between the two budgets. One says no tax, one says plus tax, as far as the numbers.
The totals are the same, but if you look at the individual revenue line items, they differ. If you look at the one that says plus tax and no tax, on the sheet that says no tax,
Okay.
your bank interest anticipated is significantly higher. Your sewer rates are up.
Assuming that you get that much interest.
Well, that's why I'm saying to you, yeah, I really don't wanna go to 45,000 on interest revenue. Okay. We worked hard to make 57 this year, but as I previously mentioned, rates are already starting to fall a little bit.
Right.
Okay, there's some volatility there in terms of what the economy's doing. Okay. Without a crystal ball, I'd like to only anticipate about just a little bit under half of what we're earning, so that if the rates do fall, it'll be 2 years before we feel it.
Taking more out from the reserve for the schools,
I did, I took a little bit more out of there too.
for no tax.
Yep, to get it to balance.
Okay.
That's the deal. I really don't wanna use that reserve up any faster than we have been.
Right.
I mean, in previous discussions with Bill and Mom, that reserve at its current pace will last for another 15, 20 years. You know, without that reserve, we would be raising taxes a lot higher than we are now. I think to continue to use that at a metered and measured pace is very good business from a long-term strategical standpoint.
So that's one of the reasons why our tax is gonna be that low as far as $93.
Yep,
Per year.
absolutely. Having that reserve to draw on, I mean, $48,000 a year, and
And that's how much we use out of
I've
that.
been using I went back and looked for at least the last 3 or 4 years, that's been the number, for 48,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice number. Like I said, it gives you 15 to 20 years of being able to draw down off that reserve and use that to help lower the impact of the budget on tax. Unfortunately, I mean, we know what a lot of our other revenues are in town, and there's not a lot of room or growth potential in those other revenues. Your state aid's been pretty level for the last 5 years. Okay. Your alcohol licenses, you got the same 2 bars in town you've had forever. Okay. We're going to be looking at the sewer rates this spring, so you're gonna see some revenue there as we move that into, the 20th century, because the rates haven't been touched since 1997. But, that'll certainly help, and that'll help with next year's budget. But the rest of your revenues kind of are what they are. Not a lot of economic growth right now in Victory Gardens. No new construction, not a lot of people doing additions or adding value to their homes or putting on swimming pools where we're sending the assessor out for, a lot of addeds. So, we gotta kind of play within the dimensions of the ballpark we've been given.
What's CMPTRA?
That's one of our state aids.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Supplemental Property Risk and Tax Relief Act. And that number's been that number for a really long time.
Would there be much difference between 2% raise in salaries and 3%?
Not really. No. Give you an idea.
Also, I said something wrong at the last meeting. I said social security on 2.8%, it was 1.6.
There's a page in the budget that has a breakdown in total between salaries and wages. Pull out my handy dandy calculator.
And of course, this doesn't include the county tax, which can go up.
The county tax is gonna be flat this year, they've already advertised it.
Oh, okay.
Which they can do because they have a myriad of revenues at their disposal that we don't have. That 1% would be about $3,600 out of a $1.57 million budget.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you.
I think you come out with a very good adjustment now on the budget. Seems like it's really in a good position compared with the last year. It's not a high, you've been very conservative in this one,
Trying.
and it looks good to me.
Thank you.
So, good job.
Thank you. Again, when I look at doing our budget, I'm not just trying to look at this year and next year. I'm trying to see where we might be 2 or 3 years from now. And again, because our revenues are fairly well defined in a lot of areas. Not a lot of growth, not a lot of economic change in terms of what's coming in. It kind of hamstrings me a little bit. So yeah, I do try to take a conservative approach, especially with the reserves that we've gone down on, like the school taxes. They are finite, they're not gonna last forever. I'm trying to stretch them out for us as long as we can, so that you don't end up with a big tax bill at the very, very end. Someday though, 20 years from now, after all of us are gone, that $48,000 a year is gonna have to come from someplace.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we're gonna have, it's going to be a problem that's going to need to be addressed at some point, but like I said, not for another 15 or 20 years.
I remember when they cut out the state or whatever, and the taxes doubled overnight. Everybody was complaining.
Yeah.
You got out what?
The state aid and stuff. Debbie, you remember that, right? Yeah. Taxes doubled.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Anyone?
Thank you,
Especially,
Justin.
we're going with tax or without the tax?
And you wanna make, get a motion just on the raises, if you're doing 3%, and then, what was the other one, Joe?
Well, actually, if you
Oh,
just want,
just
if you
to
just want
have
to
the
go,
tax increase of
go recommend,
2%.
go with the recommendation of the 3% raise and 2% tax increase
Mhm.
with the budget that we've outlined here. Then the next thing I'll start to do is put the state document together and send it over to, the folks at Mitsubishi to be my second set of eyes on. And we will hopefully be ready to introduce at the March meeting, first meeting in March.
To keep the 3%, to do the 3% raise and also the 2% raise for the tax increase
I need a motion for 3%
for raises.
for raises
And then the 2% tax increase.
and a 2% tax increase.
I make a motion for 3% raises and 2% tax increase.
Repeat what you said, I'm sorry.
I make a motion for 3% increase and 2% tax increase.
Did you say 3%?
3% raising.
Okay,
3%.
I didn't, I
Mhm.
wasn't sure what you said.
2% total budget.
Second,
Okay, roll call?
Councilwoman Cheatham,
yes.
Councilman Glass,
Yes.
Councilwoman White,
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you guys. I will, start putting the document together for you.
Oh, hold on a second, before you leave. I'd like a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So motion to open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, it's Franklin Road. What's the, total of the raises in dollar amount? What does that come to, that 3%? Anybody calculate that? Roll salaries?
Just had that number on my.
You said 3,600 for
1%.
1%,
Figure
so-
18 grand total.
9-10,000.
18,000 total. Ballpark is a very good estimate.
18,000 total.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you were talking earlier about, and let me get this right. Are sewer rates going up in 2020 or not going up in 2020?
Sewer rates are going to be studied this year.
Okay, but they're not going up.
No, the expectation is that there's going to be a sewer rate increase.
Okay, effective when?
Haven't finished the calculations yet, but probably before the mid-year bill. Bills go out mid-year, because they only bill somebody anyway, so.
Mhm.
Well, that,
Of a sewer rate study, when the results of that analysis is complete, it'll be presented to the council with recommendations at a council meeting for public consumption.
who's doing that study?
I'm using some numbers from the borough engineer and from the folks over at Dover Water. And we're gonna put, some scenarios together based on the consumption data that we get from Dover.
Okay. And out of the budget that you're proposing, how come we didn't include a generator for town hall that we talked about for many, many years?
It's a capital item, it's got more than a 5-year useful life, and if we decide we wanna do a generator,
Yep,
we'll do it through ordinance.
so that was a substantial amount. I think Leon Hall is supposed to be about $60,000,
Correct.
Yep.
but the price probably went up since then. And you're also doing tree removals this year out of the current budget?
Capital item. Debbie and I have discussed it already.
Okay. And you were talking about, one thing you didn't take into account is, the school tax is probably gonna go up. And you roll that into a tax increase for the borough. That could be a substantial amount of money. So don't equate $93 as, oh, it's only $93. Cause it might be a
That's on the
small
local
amount.
part.
I presented that as the impact of the local tax increase.
Yeah, I said.
Right,
We don't
but
have-
I'm saying, we
Yeah.
haven't taken into consideration because you're giving 3% raises out, which you don't have to give out. And if those raises are $18,000, that's a lot of money. But you have the school tax to worry about too, which could be $200-300 in addition. And that you have no control over,
That's right.
and that's something you should.
School
take
tax
into
levy is also
consideration.
capped at a 2% increase.
Okay, but I think last year it came in at $200 some odd. I know the exact number. And you were talking about not having, the borough doesn't have revenue stream or anything. I know Dave Zimmerman, when I spoke to him when I was on the planning board, he said one of the things that would promote additional fees and money and taxation would be to allow people to relax on the land use ordinances we have. I mean, nobody's doing anything here because we're so restrictive. You can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, you look at the houses in town, they're really not doing much to it because it's so restrictive. You relax on the rules, you'll promote growth and development, additional fees on construction, as well as the value of the properties. Then the tax assessor has something to go after. You know, I mean, you tell people, you can't do this, you can't do that. Nobody's gonna do nothing. Nothing's gonna happen in the town. It's gonna
What exactly you talking about, can't do this and can't do what?
impervious coverage.
Right.
I mean, when you start getting so restrictive, you can't do this thing because of that law. I mean, that's what you need to examine, your land use laws
No,
are
no.
so restrictive.
A good majority of that, because the impervious is because of the runoff.
Well, no, because they do make material that's not, I'm not gonna get into details about all that. But I'm saying, you don't let people build up on their house to the second story.
It's never been that way.
Well, the reason why is because,
Why, you tell me?
no,
You know the
you're
answer.
the mayor, you're on the planning board.
You know the answer, and I do too.
Well, of course I know the answer. And how can you even sell the vacant land if you're not using it? That could be a $50,000, you know, cash in pocket, you sell that piece of land. If you're not using it, I know Mr. Glass brought it up about thinking about selling it, so why not sell it? If you're looking for money, there's a good opportunity. Because I know a piece of land in the town that did sell, and I think it sold for $57,000. You know, empty lot.
Right.
So why not do that? That's a revenue source that you can have.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I'd like a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so everybody's satisfied with what we went over, right? Okay. And I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was good. Thank you, Joe. Good work.